You need to understand the need for strategic plan, because only when you understand what is your internal problems. Meanwhile, the department goal would also be in such a way that it improves the performance, specific performance such as sales or customer relationship in the short term or a long term. Whether it is for a short term purpose or a long term purpose, the plan which you are going to make. Now, if your objective is for your company to launch a new product, hello and a warm welcome to you all dear students. I, B.A Commerce Faculty, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. Dear students, today I am going to take up session 2 of Unit 2, that is strategic planning. Under that strategic planning, in the last session I was explaining to you about the what is strategic planning, the concept of strategic planning, then under that how the strategy is been formulated, then how that particular strategy is been implemented, how the strategy is been evaluated, and also I told you the 7 important aspects that is in the strategic planning process. Now we shall go into detail all the 7 steps in the planning process. First is, as I told you, to understand the need for strategic plan. The first and foremost, they should understand why there is a need, what is the necessity of this particular strategic plan. So it says it is one of the most important aspect or the first step in the planning process, where they need to understand the requirement of that particular strategic plan. So if you take up in the terms of management, it says it means that you need to be aware. So in the terms of management, the management people has to be aware of the industrial environment as well as in which the business operates. So they need to understand what is the environment of the industry as well as what way they are being involved or where the business operates, so that you can easily identify the opportunities for the development or the growth of your industry or for your plan. So here the managers as well as the top level management, they should be aware of the business internal operations. So they should be very clear and aware, and they should be alert and aware about the internal the operations. So that will be helpful in order to know what is the problem internally they are facing as well as how to solve it. So that is why they say that you need to understand the need for strategic plan, because only when you understand what is your internal problems and how we are going to solve that, then easily you can find out planning process, or we can take up the planning process, or we can do the strategic planning. So after identified what are your opportunities, and thereby you are looking into to put into action. So you got an opportunity and you are going to create that opportunity or put that opportunity into plan or into action, and that will surely help you to take the advantages of that objectives or the planning process. Now example says the government offering contracts to business people in your industry, and if you are aware of this, you can make a plan of it and help your business complete for a bid. So if a government company, if they are allowing and if they are giving the contracts, they're calling for a contracts or for a tender for your business units, then you should be aware of that particular business plans, and accordingly you should plan it and see that you acquire that particular bid and you can compete and take that particular bid on your company wise. So this is how you need to understand first and foremost the need for strategic plan. Secondly, it says setting the goals. Setting of goals is also very, very important on part of every organization or company, because that is a second step in the process of planning. So goals can be set for both the individual as well as for the whole organization, that is the individual department as well as for the whole business, as well as it depends upon the purpose of why we need to set a goal or an objective. And here you can see the example, government bids, company-wide goals could be to able to secure a bid. So it says using this government bids or the tenders, the company can easily, wider the goal, and thereby it could secure the tender or a bid on its. Meanwhile, the department goal would also be in such a way that it improves the performance, specific performance such as sales or customer relationship. So this is how they are going to set the goals for each and every aspects. So departments will be setting their goals in order to improve the specific performance, in order to give a very good performance on their part in which the task has been assigned. As well as if you take up the sales or customer relation satisfaction also, so here the departments will be taking care of that particular goals in order to give a very good performance, as well as to undertake or to have a more growth and sales, and thereby you can offer the customer satisfaction. So these goals are very, very important aspects to the strategic planning process, because it says they allow the managers to work more efficiently and effectively, and also they will be directing the teams, right? And this gives, when the managers, they are going to direct the teams, that will surely help the employees a common purpose. That is, when they are motivated by the employers or the managers, surely they will be working towards their daily activities, that is, which will be more focused upon. So this is what it says, goals are important because the strategic planning process is in such a way that they allow the managers to work more effectively, and also direct the employees to work in such a manner that they will take care of all the work which has been work of the task which has been assigned to them, and they will work towards the achievement of that particular goal or the daily activities which has been connected with them, and also it will be more focused towards that particular goal. Third is develop assumptions or premises. So here you need to develop the assumption. I told you, first you need to have the assumption. Only when you have assumption, you can see that that particular plan can be executed or not. So if I want, for example, I want to go for a theater, or I want to watch a movie. Now you have to assume when I should go, how I should go, with whom I should go, right? So all this you have to take into consideration, or you have to assume. If I go for the first show, then whether I will be able to come back early or not, or if I go in the night show, whether I will be getting enough time to sleep and get up early in the morning or not. So these assumptions should be there. So when you make a plan for your business also, it says it should be done with the future in mind. Thinking and having future of your business, you should have the plan, or you should make a plan. So of course the future is unpredictable. Everyone knows that the future is unpredictable, means no one knows what is going to happen tomorrow. So it is unpredictable, unforeseen. So you cannot predict what is going to happen in future. But which means your plan need to be based on certain assumption, but still you need to make a plan for your business or for your company based on the assumptions as well as your premises. So just by assumption, you need to prepare a plan, because no one in the world, or any businessman will say that I have made a plan thinking that this is what is going to happen in future for my business. So no one is going to say that, because everyone knows that it is where we cannot predict it. It is unpredictable. So the forecast is a common type of premises. So forecast is the most common type. Forecast is the most common type of premises, where it involves certain making predictions. So it will be creation, or it will be creating the predictions about the future. So it says if a company goal is to increase the profit. So the assumption here is, or the main goal is to see that the company has to achieve some profits. Then the management would also need to forecast whether or not that industry would be able to support to increase the profit or not. So when the company is having this particular assumption, that is the goal, in order to achieve more profit, then the management also needs to focus. So in order to achieve the profit, what the management has to do? The management also has to focus on how to achieve that particular profit, right? What are the various ways where you can achieve the profit? So they need to forecast. Even they need to forecast whether and how, and not whether the industry is going to able, or whether it would be able to support in case of to increase the profit or not. So this is what happens in terms of, that is, assumptions or premises. So any company or any management, if that is the organization, if it has to see that it has to increase the profit, then first and foremost, or if it wants to set a goal, then it has to, first have an assumption or the premises or the forecasting we say. Premises is nothing but the forecasting, where the management has to first think over and also assume that whether to increase the profit, what are the ways we have to take into consideration, what are the assumption has to be made, and whether it is going to be helpful or whether we are going to support that particular achievement of increasing profit or not. So during the strategic planning process, you need to develop both the internal as well as the external aspects of the premises, that is forecasting. So you need to forecast your internal as well as the external forecasting has to be done. Then internal forecasting of the premises is totally based on the internal workings of the organization of the company. So it depends upon the departments and the various other the levels of companies and the factors. Some examples of internal premises we can give here is the resources which experts to have available. So whatever the resources we have internally, so whether you are going to have all that resources or not, right? Then company's policy that need or will to have an implement. So what are the company's policies and whether that particular policy you need to will, that is to have or to implement that particular policy or not, right? If you take up a plan, then how are the levels of management will interact with the plan. So how the various levels of the management, that is the top level, middle level and the lower level will interact, how they are going to give their suggestion or the opinion regarding that particular plan. And coming to the external premises, students, it says that is anything outside of the company. So anything if it is outside of the company, then we call it as the external premises, and that also will have a greater impact and the effect of the plan, and in order to be ability to achieve that particular set objectives or the goals. And here we can see some of the examples of external premises, that is the social and political environment. So it depends upon the social environment and the political environment, that is the government, change in the government or else social factors. Then technological advancement, that is improvement in the technology or new technologies, then competition from other business. So all these are the various aspects which are related, or the factors which are related to the external premises, which also have a greater impact on the achievement, that is on achievement of the goals or the objectives. Now while trying to achieve the goal of the organization, it says it is very important that all the managers of who are operating under this particular same premises, whether it is external or internal, they have to agree with the premises. So they need to agree with the premises, that is they need to agree with the forecasting. Then only you can achieve the goals or the targets. Then research different ways to achieve objectives. So here students, this is also one of the steps under 7 steps in planning premises. So they usually several different ways to achieve the goals. There are different ways, different parts of the process where you can achieve the goal. So you need to take time to research. So you have to take the time and do the research work in various ways with various teams, forming a team, as well as where you could achieve or complete that particular task or set an objective, right? Now researching different solutions, finding out new things, coming out new things or different solutions for completing the goal. It says it's very important because the managers who are there in the company, some flexibility will be there on part of managers when they are directing their team. So they should be more flexible, because only when they are flexible they can easily motivate, and they can motivate the team and make the teams to work or put that particular plans into actions and direct them. Now some of the managers, what they think that they may prefer innovation solutions. That means new solutions, come out with new solutions, or what you call the solutions for completing this particular goals, or we say completing this particular goals and achieving this particular goals, while others may wish to use more traditional form of what you call the methods. So some manager may be wanting to come up with new or innovative solutions in order to achieve the goals, but whereas it says some other managers may be wanting to use the old technology or the old methods or traditional methods for finding out a strategy or the plan, or to do the research. So while doing the research, there are different ways in achieving that particular objectives or the goal, and it should be a narrow one, and it should be option from down to few choices. Now as we mentioned there, it says there are like countless solutions. There are different solutions where you can find in order to achieve the goals, but that has been said. But if you do not narrow down the options, it is very hard for the managers, they say that, to choose the solutions that will work. Now coming to the fifth one, choose your plan of action. So this is also one of the steps in the planning process. It says once you set your objectives and develop your premises, identified and evaluated different solutions for completing your goals, you can then decide which course of action to take. So here you need to choose. This is important, right? In order to implement it. So once you have set your objectives, the objective has been set, then your premises has been developed, that is forecasting has been done, then it has been evaluated and it has also been identified, and finally it has been also evaluated with different solutions for different goals in order to completing the goals. So then you should decide which course of action will be the best one in order to put that into action. But usually they say that the strategic plan that you choose is one will be the most profitable one. So whenever the managers or the top level management, whenever they choose the strategies or the strategic plan, so that particular strategy plan will be the best one, where it will be very much profitable one and more feasible one. So before you choose your plan of action, what you need to do, there are few things you need to keep in mind. Which are those few things? First is avoid the plan that could potentially cost the business money. So you should avoid such kind of plans which will waste your business money or the resource. So this is something in order to consider whether it says in the short term or in long term, whether it is for the short term purpose or for a long term purpose, the plan which you are going to make, that should not have a impact on the financial position of your company, right? Then also it says you should select the plan that has least amount of potential negative consequences. So those plans which you are selecting or choosing, they should be less consequences or negative consequences. So if there are a lot of negative consequences, the pros and cons, we say negative aspect and the positive aspect. So positive aspect is okay, but negative aspect, if there is a lot of negative aspect in that particular plan, better to avoid it. So every plan can choose, and naturally there will be a lot of drawbacks. If you see any plan you take, there will be some drawbacks, right? But some plans will have more disadvantages than the others. But you see, every plan will be having some advantages and disadvantages, but some plans will be having lot of disadvantages. Such kind of plan should be avoided. It should not be taken into consideration. Then compare the different options for completing your goal or your objectives and choose one which is the highest chance of success. So there are so many plans. Out of that plans, you need to choose a plan where it says out of different options you are having, which will be able to complete your goal or objective, which will be able to achieve your goals or objectives. That particular plan should be in such a way that it should be having a highest, the chance of getting success or being success. So such kind of plan should be taken into consideration. Now choose a plan of action which has been adaptable. So it should be adaptable. The plan which you take or undergo, that should be an adaptable one which you choose. So while you are executing your plan, you may counter obstacles and you did not anticipate. So that is the reason they say that choose a plan of action which is adaptable. Why? Because at the time of implementing it, suddenly there may be obstacles or the hurdles may come up which you did not predict it, right? Or you did not anticipate that you may not thought that it will come. So such kind of plans. So if your plan is flexible, then easily you can change and you can overcome what are these obstacles, and it is very easy with that plan. You can see that has been fixed. Example, if a business is pursuing a government bid, so if any business or company, if they are taking or pursuing a government tender, the government institutes a new policy. So now the government will, what they do, they will initiate a new policy and you may need to alter your bids. So when they initiate the new policies, now according to the new policies, the companies also has to alter their plans, right? So that you can easily compile with the new policy and get that tender or the bid for your company. So that is what it says according to this choose a plan of action. Developing a supporting plan. So once you know which plan you are going to implement, so now we already decided out of so many various plans, you are chosen the best one. Now when you know that particular plan and we are going to implement it, then you also need to develop the secondary plan to help the instead of the primary plan. So there should be another substitute plan, we say. a substitute plan for the main plan. So only when there is a substitute plan for the main plan, then it is more helpful. So you need to develop the supporting plan or substitute plan, right? Now these secondary plans or substitute plans, they will vary depending upon your objectives. So it will be varying, changing depending upon our objectives and the goals which we set. So you should keep your goals in mind. So when you put this or when you develop a supporting plan or a substitute plan or secondary plan, then you should keep in mind what? While developing this additional plan. So you should keep what are your goals, what are your objects while you are developing this additional plan, which will be a supporting plan for the primary plan or the basic plan. Now if your objective is for your company to launch a new product, now your plan is to launch a new product from your company side, and it says, and your main plan is may include steps such as product research, developing the marketing strategies or the plan, and arranging for the manufacturing. So if your objective is for your company to launch a new product, then it says that is your main plan. Then that may include the supporting plans such as doing research, finding out research or doing innovations, then developing the marketing plans or the strategies, how to see that to promote your products, as well as arranging for the manufacturing of that particular product or for the production of that particular product. So this is what you say to develop a supporting plan. Just if you have planned that you are planning only for having a to come out with a new product, then how we are going to manufacture the product, right? How we are going to market your product. So all these things are nothing but these are also the assumption or the plans where it will be supporting your main plan. So the secondary plan or substitute plan will include all the steps that you need to undertake in order to achieve the main plan or implementation of the main plan. So as I told you, an example here we can say you might need to expand your product research team. So you want to expand your product research team, for that is your main plan, right? So which means how we are going to, that is, increase or expand your new team. So the supporting plan here is, or we say the secondary plan, that is you need to hire the new employees, right? Which could be the step in your secondary plan. So similarly, you need to hire a product. When you want to purchase a product research team, then if your firm does not have already one or other increase in your company's manufacturing capability of a current situation or facilities, then it's not suitable for the new product. So you are not able to manufacture a new product or come up with a new product. So for that, you need to have that is a secondary plan for the main plan or the primary plan. So here training personnel is also one of the component, that is the common component of the secondary plan regardless of the goal. So training is very, very essential part of every organization regardless of whatever the goals or objectives may be, because it says whether you are launching a new product or not, or whether you want to increase your sales or not, right, of a current sales, your staff will likely to need further training, because only when they're getting training, good training, then the company will be able to achieve the objectives. So that is different. Planning or having objectives is different, but training is very essential part of every organization, where it has to give to the employees regardless of whether you are going to launch a product or whether you are going to increase your sales, right, of the current product, right, or so whatever it is, the staff has to be trained properly. Last one is implementing the strategic plan. So finally, the last step here is implementing the strategic plan. Whatever the strategic plan you have, that will to be implemented. So final step in the strategic planning process is implementing the plan which you have chosen, which you have formulated, which you have evaluated, and which is to be implemented now. In some cases, it can be the most involved step in the planning process, because it depends upon the objectives which you have set. So this is most important aspect, because is the step or the stage where you are going to actually put your plan into action. So when it comes to the time to implement the plan, what the managers has to do, they draw their skill sets and experience to make sure everything runs smoothly. So when that particular time comes, when they want to implement that particular task or the plan, then the managers, they need to come out with more creativity, lot of skills and talents. They need to give in order to see that everything goes on smoothly and the plan is being executed. So if the organizational goal is particularly complex, if you see, sometimes the goals of the organization becomes very complex, where it is very difficult to achieve. So the managers there, they need to take time necessary to make sure the team members understand the plan. So when it is a very complex objective of our organization, in that case the managers need to take time and make understand about the particular plan, objective of the particular plan, right? So understand the responsibilities and how everyone will connect to the larger goal. So they need to motivate, they need to direct the employees, telling them and making them understand this is what the goals of the organization, this is what the plans of the organization, this is the strategy, and accordingly we need to work as a team in order to be a successful one, or in order to get success and achieve that particular goal or the objective. So all the team members need to be informed about the work, and they need to work together in a team or as a team and make that particular project a successful one, or that particular plan a successful one. So here, which are the tools you need to implement that particular plan? It says it depends upon the circumstances. Example, if your plan is related to instituting a new company policy, then implementation of this particular plan requires more consultation with the legal departments. So if you want to make your plan is that you need to have a new company policy. So you want to make a policy of your company, that is a new policy for your company, then here you need to, that is the implementation of this particular plan, it requires lot of consultation with the legal experts, we say, or the legal departments, in order to make sure that there is the policy which has been outlined or framed correctly, very important, framed correctly, that will be more effective in terms of all legal terms. Now coming to the strategic alternative, this is the next, the topic, students. So under strategic alternatives, I have explained to you already there in the first unit, the grand strategies. So we have stability grand strategies, expansion growth strategies, retrenchment strategies, and combination. These are the four important, we say strategic intents. So stability grand strategy is where the company is going to see that it will not take a move for a growth, but it will see that it maintains the stability. So expansion and growth, it starts penetrating into the market and it will start growing into the market, facing the competition and expanding their products of the market to increase their market share or about the product. Then retrenchment strategies, it is where the company or is coming down, or the market share is coming down, or the market or the product is not having a good market for that particular product. In that case, the companies will take up the strategies called as retrenchment strategies, that is retrenchment strategies, where sometimes they may see that that particular product which is declining may be taken away from the market, or where the company is not in a good case, then in that case they need to see that merging of the various along with other companies, or acquisition, acquiring or purchasing, joint ventures, all these strategies has to be taken into consideration. Then combination is of all the three, that is stability, expansion and retrenchment strategies. So these strategies will be taken into consideration, taking into aspect the three strategies, that is stability, expansion and retrenchment. So this is what I said. So in the grand strategy, stability strategies, when to pursue them, when to take them. So it is the strategy, it is alternatively useful for the firm in order to pursue the original objectives of the goal or the objectives, and the main focus here is the decision is upon the improvement of the functional performance. So here they are not going to improve about or to grow, but the main objective or the main the strategy is to see that for the improvmental in functional performance, what are the functions they are undertaking in that particular function, how well they are going to improve. So in case achievement level is fixed, then the basis for the past performance corrected is known the rate of inflation. So here the company adopts stability grand strategies when it says when the operating is very stable and comfortable environment. Only when there is a comfortable environment and the operating is very stable, during that time the strategy, that is stability grand strategy, is been adopted. Then when it's not facing any kind of threat from outside, then it may be like stiff competition, then management is not been in favor of undertaking high degree of risk, that is when it is risky to embark the expansion strategies. Then D United Food Industries Limited, makers of Domain noodles, since its inception, they have followed a stable growth strategy in Nigeria because they concentrated on wide, narrow range of products as well as whatever the quality aspects you see of noodles. Similarly, you can see the Coca-Cola and Pepsi also, they have been operating in the soft drinking beverages for ages because they have developed the strategy called as the stability strategy. Under expansion and growth, it says when to pursue them. The expansion and growth strategies can be aimed only at increasing the organization's size, that is through increase in its volume, market share. So here the companies can adopt this particular strategy, expansion and growth strategies, only when they think about increasing the size of their organization. That is how they are going to increase the size of our organization, that is through the increase in the volume of the products or volume of sales or volume of market share as well as the number of markets which they are entering or which they are serving. So here example you can see is widening product lines, diversifying into new markets of business, expanding operations, right, into new geographical areas or locations, as well as adopting new technologies, taking away the old technologies which are being which is outdated, and in order to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the product lines. Now this strategy, we call this growth strategy, it can be implemented either through the following, that is concentration, concentration and diversification, and merger and acquisition. So this is how the expansion strategies can take place. So expansion through concentric, expansion through concentric, it means this concentric growth strategy is an alternative strategy where the firm goes into a businesses which are related to the existing ones. So under this, the business, that is the firm, they will go merge with another business of the same line, right? Say the manufacture same parts of passenger cars to the manufacture same parts of the tractors. So here the manufacturers of the spare parts of a car, they will merge with the manufacturers of the spare parts of the tractor. So there is no doubt this is the example because of product related concentric growth. So this is the example for concentric growth. And also the example for customer related concentric growth is when the firm is producing what? The farm equipments which is deciding to enter into the chemicals and fertilizers. So when a company is already which has been related into, that is farm producing equipments, so here they are already in the farm producing companies and now they are entering into the chemicals as well as the business fertilizers. Expansion to diversification, so this is, it involves the changes either in terms of customer groups or the customer functions or the services or any of the alternate technologies which has been adopted. So already all these topics are covered in the chapter 1. So these are the various aspects. So these are the various topics which I have covered to you today, students, under this particular session 2. So I explained to you all the 7 important planning steps in planning process. Then about this strategies, 4 important strategies, that is stability grand strategies, then expansion grand strategies. Under that we have 2 concentration strategies, concentration and concentric strategies, and diversification strategies. So in the next class I will be explaining to you other remaining topics related to this particular chapter or unit. So students, hope you understood the topics which are covered to you under this particular session or the class. So see you in the next class. Until then, take care. Have a nice day. Thank you, students.